and I would like to introduce Ian Bray, who was the Assistant National Secretary of the MUA during the dispute and is now the ITF Coordinator for Australia. Thank you, Ian.
Good evening, comrades. I think what you're about to see tonight, I won't say it's very special. It's certainly very moving and very emotional. But in no way is it to celebrate any victory. It's to probably ponder about what's gone wrong and what do we need to do to fix it. And I guess it shows the struggle and the shattering of lives, after you go through such an ordeal. This crew weren't sacked in any normal manner. They weren't sacked even by text. They read it in a local newspaper that was sent to them from one of the wives of the seafarers in Portland.
Shame.
The company didn't even have the decency and the dignity to show, or any moral compass, to identify that there needed to be at least a discussion with the seafarers whose livelihoods are about to end. They were in Kwinana at the time. It was late November 2015. And they rang the union, of course, and we said sail across to Portland. And by the time they'd got there, they had the determination and the collective determination amongst themselves that they weren't going anywhere until they had answers. And 71 days later, they were still there demanding those answers and demanding why they have been removed from the right to work on their own coastline in their own country. They would have still been there now, I reckon, had the 30 security guards not come up the gangway in the middle of the night on the 13th of January and forcefully removed them. Such was their determination. I've got to thank Troy Gray. Troy Gray came to us with the idea of where are they now and what are the lives of these seafarers look like, because he was just as determined as anybody else that it was a story too important to not let fade or just throw into the dustbin of history. And he sponsored and paid for this movie and made it so we're all going to be watching it today, and so it's captured forever in our history about what went on, what went wrong, and what we need to do to fix it. Equally, I want to pay a special thank you tonight to Luke Hilakari and Will Strachey and the crew of the Victorian Trades Hall Council. Without you guys coming down and doing all of those things and needing the community together and just being there for general assistance. We nearly made a ITF inspector out of Matt Kunkel, and I reckon he would have been a pretty good one. But you guys were just invaluable to not only ours, but more importantly to the crew of the Portland at that time when they so desperately needed it. So we made the movie in 2017 and here we are in 2021, and the reason why is because it was a matter of weeks after the crew were forcefully removed off the Portland in a disgraceful way, and there's questionable other government agencies that conspired in that removal. I don't want to touch on that tonight. It's a bit raw. However, we were thrown into the federal court by the Fair Work Ombudsman, who weren't only satisfied with this crew losing their livelihoods, wanted to prosecute them and fine them and treat them like criminals, all because they had the integrity and courage to stand up for the right to work on their own coast. That court case, they wanted to sue the union for a few mil too in damages because Alcoa was doing it tough at the time. And all of this, and Alcoa hadn't filed one charge or laid one complaint or one claim against the union. This was government sanctioned by a government agency on their own vilification to go out and keep this in the public interest. Purely because I believe they'd been politicised and weaponised for the wrong reasons. So we had to fight that case, and you know, it's only about 10 months ago now, we fought that case and we got the desired outcome. The crew weren't fined, the union weren't found guilty and had penalties imposed. But again, I urge everyone, that's no victory. All that was allowed was for the seafarers to attempt to pick up their lives that had been shattered by Alcoa and by, you know, others, the federal government. They've got a heavy hand in this, and it allowed them to go and do that. So 5 years later, and I've changed jobs, I'm now the ITF coordinator, and with a determination, we've made a distinct decision to start turning the spotlight into the FOC trade that is here and working in cabotage trade. And I can tell you this, Alcoa, we're in current negotiations with 3 of their preferred charterers. And right now, we are talking about claims of wage theft to the tune of $57 million in that trade. Now, not all of it's Alcoa, but a good portion of it is. And I tell you what, we're going to keep focusing that attention there for as long as it takes until somebody pays attention and fixes this bloody mess that is Australian shipping at the moment.